DOG6 is a Robinson projection map. These first few paragraphs you can read on your own. They tell you a little bit more about the map and the map questions that you'll see this week, along with these vocabulary words. A few of the vocabulary words we've used before, but it's good to have them here as a reminder. So lines of latitude are parallels, and lines of longitude are the meridians, and you have those definitions here. You've had those on your map quiz before. Hemisphere is half of the Earth, and a projection, this one you're going to have a question on, is a system for mapping the round Earth on a flat surface. So you know in the classroom we have globes. That's the most accurate way to show all of the continents and oceans because the Earth is round. But a projection is a way of putting the map of the Earth on a flat surface, so we could look at it on a piece of paper. This Robinson projection map, this paragraph down here tells you, is an oval-shaped projection. The size and shape of the continents are shown accurately, but the water areas are expanded to fill the extra space in the oval. So there's some extra space here in the Pacific Ocean. They've kind of stretched that out so that they don't have to stretch out the size and shape of the continents. This projection was created by the American cartographer. A cartographer is a map maker, Arthur Robinson. On this Robinson projection map, you're going to see longitude and latitude lines. They are labeled. You have your latitude lines that measure how far north and south something is from the equator. So you have 0 degrees on the equator. And then for each line, it is labeled going up by 15 degrees every time for north. Also for south, these numbers increase by 15 degrees each time you go down for the lines going south. The longitude lines are labeled east and west, but if you look really carefully, and I'm just going to zoom in real quick, you can notice how these numbers label every other line. So this is 0 degrees, and then over here I have 30 degrees east, but there's a line in between. Halfway between 0 and 30 would be 15 degrees east. They don't quite have enough space to put all of those numbers up here. So just know that they're labeling every other line and skipping the labels, but you could count, figure out, all right, between 30 and 60 degrees east would be 45 degrees east for this line. You have your continents and oceans that are labeled. You should be familiar with where each of those are already. For your map questions, you'll notice that some of them are taken out. I've made fewer questions this week because the map is a little bit more challenging. The first couple of questions are based on some of the vocabulary of this week. Wednesday's question asks which continents have east longitude in their address. That means which continents have an east line going through it. Which ones are on the eastern hemisphere? Thursday's questions. This one, Thursday 1, I'm going to tell you two things about it. First, I'll mark where Central America is on the map in case you need it. And then it's the same latitude as Africa, Australia, or South America. You have to pick one of those three. It's not a yes or no question, and it's not multiple of these answers. It's not something else, right? Your answer here is going to be either Africa, Australia, or South America. Central America on the map. Just kind of draw a little mark here. Central America would be kind of this region. You include some of these islands in here, maybe the Gulf of Mexico. You've got some countries in here like Venezuela, Honduras. These would be Central America, between North America and South America. And then finally, you have a few questions that have 2 lines, so a 90 degrees south latitude and a 30 degrees east longitude, you're going to have to find where those 2 lines intersect. If you want to draw on your map to just kind of trace where those lines are so that you can find where those 2 lines connect, where they meet, and find which continent they're in, that's a really good strategy to use. So you have that question for Thursday 2 and Friday 2. It gives you 2 lines where they meet. Friday does also give you 2 lines, but don't be confused because Friday is a different type of question. It's actually 2 questions in one. The first question is, which of the 5 oceans is closest to 90 degrees north latitude? That's a question all by itself. And the second question is, which ocean is closest to 90 degrees south latitude? So you're going to have 2 answers in this because there are 2 questions. The challenge this week is something I want you to complete. It's not, it's not too complicated because most of the information is right there on the map for you, and we've done plenty of work with continents before. So it tells you about the equator and the prime meridian, and then it tells you to trace the equator in red, so you can change your colors here, and trace the prime meridian in green. And then you go up to your map where it has this challenge box. All of the continents on the west side, so continents on the west of the prime meridian, you're just going to list them here. And the continents east of the prime meridian, you're going to put over here. Please don't forget Antarctica. It's one people forget. Since Antarctica is pretty evenly on both sides, you can put it on both boxes. Some of the others, they're mostly in one. You don't have to put it in both boxes if it's most of the continent is considered one hemisphere or the other. If you have questions, please reach out. Like I said, you might want to take a look at these if you're working on this from home. And I'd be happy to answer any other questions. Don't forget, use complete sentences when you are answering the questions.